Oh, what's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith Malcheski.
Welcome to the War Room. We are War Room Philly. Wu-Tang is for the children. Keith, how you doing tonight?
I am doing phenomenally as the preseason has finally concluded.
It is indeed. We have made it to the regular season. Absolutely.
That's worth celebrating. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's another regular season. Things are looking good as far as the Eagles front. Recent moves have made fans happy, at least. Um, so, it's kind of one of those things where we'll get into the current 53-man roster because it's already different than the first 53-man roster.
Yep.
Um, and then, it's probably going to be different. I would imagine there's still a couple more tweaks between now and opening day. I don't know
Yeah,
about
I,
you.
I would imagine. Well, Howie likes to tweak things as he goes, and I think we've already seen that he's willing to move and shake to find things a little bit better. Obviously, we have two high-profile trades to talk about, but there's also small things like Davion Taylor cut. The guy who was a third-round pick. You usually see them run to the end of their contracts before you let them go, and he's already let him go because of improvements that have been made to the roster.
Yeah, it's one point he's acknowledging his failures in the draft, and I guess in another way, showing that the team has improved in those areas due to the failures. Um, and with that, it's also JJ Arthega-Whiteside has been cut since maybe not since the last time, but obviously Jalen Reagor today traded. Keith, you got the specs on that deal, don't you? Right?
I do. They actually traded him to the Minnesota Vikings. The Eagles will receive a 2023 seventh round NFL draft pick and a 2024 conditional fourth round pick that would downgrade to a fifth if certain stats aren't met. But
So
I
they,
just want to state something. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so they got a fifth and a seventh because whatever stats that
Yeah,
are regular won't make them.
yeah, exactly. So
And
that's fine because that's still more than the Cowboys got for Amari Cooper, as our wonderful friend Greg Hall has pointed out in our group chat.
true, yeah. The thing I never got to respond to that. I was thinking about it, and I was like, uh, that's obviously because the amount in Cooper's, what Cooper's do as far as that. Now, it's not like Reagor is cheap at $5 million for his, value, but it's a 1 year deal at
Correct,
this
but I know what you
point.
mean.
So it's it's kind of safety in that as far as the receiving team goes. But the biggest irony in all of this is now Justin Jefferson will be playing in alongside of the person that was drafted in front of him.
Yeah, one pick before.
So interesting, very interesting. But
But Eagles fans all over rejoice at this point.
yeah, it's look. I don't know that I'm rejoicing that we are trading a first round pick for a seventh and fifth or fourth. Um, I get that people were unhappy with Reagor. Um, I'll wait until I see what this team looks like at the finished product. I am by no means upset that Reagor's gone. I just think
I mean, if
that
Smith
uh,
takes the next step forward and Brown does what Brown can do, I mean, you
I
feel all right because you feel like at least you've rectified those mistakes.
I was hoping, if not for one thing, Reagor could be a punt returner for this team this year, albeit a very expensive
He couldn't do
one.
it last year.
Good point. Yeah, good point. And look, Reagor has two. Look, I'm not defending Reagor. Let me just make this
Oh,
clear.
I know, I know, I
Um,
know.
but with that being said, I'm just. It's like it feels like when what was the player God, Markelle Fultz. When the Sixers got rid of him, it was like, I know it needed to be done. I just kind of wish there was more. But at the end of the day, this was a good deal on Howie's part. He recognized what had gone. The cap money is not dead now that they traded him, correct? Or is sometimes that'll still work against the cap in trades. I'm not sure on that.
I didn't see anything about that.
If it clears the cap, then all the better. And like I said, when we see the finished product, we'll see. Right now, I think right now, do the Eagles, are they only carrying four, or who's the fifth wide receiver at this point?
If they filled one, that would be an interesting question, but I have not looked to see if that was pretty sure.
Yeah, so right now you have A.J. Brown, Zach Pascal, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins as the four wide receivers, which are four very, that's a good wide receiving crew. I don't want to say it's four very good wide receivers, but that's a very good all-in-all wide receiving crew. As I'm just trying to pull chat up on my phone. So it's a new PC chat. So with that, we're working with a couple kinks that we're, kind of noticing as we go. One being, I'm very used to having 3 screens instead of 2. That third screen was all it was my laptop, and now that there's no laptop, it's an actual PC. I'm not used to that. I'm trying to get the chat up though. Okay. So for now, my chat will be my phone. So got that up. We'll see how that works for now. But yeah. So
yeah.
Good.
I was gonna say the other trade that did occur, the more important trade, by the way, would be that the Eagles traded for a safety. We got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming to town.
CJ, as we're gonna have to as he goes by. But yes, I'm pretty happy with this move. How about you, Keith?
I'm thrilled. I mean, we got CJ in a 2025 7th round draft pick for a 5th and whichever one of a 5th and a 6th. It's whatever the worst of their 2 6th round draft picks are. In 2024. So it's like very little to get him, and he's played some safety. He's played slot corner. He's a versatile guy. Listen, it's a low risk, high reward move, and I love that. Love it.
Yeah,
he's got attitude too.
Look, last time the Eagles acquired a safety from the Saints, it worked out pretty good. And honestly, it feels like a lot more. It feels like a lot more recently. The Eagles have kind of got the better half of most of the Saints trades, and it feels like there's been a few of them.
I think you can say in general the Eagles under Howie have gotten the better of most trades they've made. Period.
Most, yeah, absolutely.
Nobody's perfect. Even Bill Belichick makes mistakes. You know what I mean? Like there's things that do happen, but I would say most.
Yeah. As far as this team goes, like a lot of people going into this season or more recently, that was their biggest kind of concern was where do they have at safety? And you're moving a defensive back, or you're moving a slot corner kind of into safety. But again, that sounds like something we've done before. Malcolm Jenkins was a guy. Now, Malcolm Jenkins was already playing safety by the time he got here, and in Gardner Johnson's, in his case, he's been playing a lot more cornerback and in the box than out. But I think that this
Right.
is going to be a move where you're going to be able to utilize versatility. You might have him be when you have two slot corners now, you can kind of stack him and Avante,
Yeah.
and still kind of play someone else out there in the backfield. I think it gives you versatility. I think that this move makes the team better, and
It
that's
does.
at any time that a general manager makes a move. That's what I ask myself. I say, is this making the team better, regardless of what I want, regardless of everything else? Does this move make the team better? And in this instance, it has. Especially this late into the season, what else can you ask for? So yeah, I'm happy with it. I think that
Yeah, starter.
this is a move that, again, exactly. You gave up little to nothing. You gave up draft stock, and you got a starter. So contract and this and that, we'll worry about that later. Right now, you got a starter, and that is a big deal when you're going into week one. So yeah, I think that this is a good move. I think that, as far as the regular move goes, we'll see what the Eagles do as far as the fifth wide receiver goes. They practice squatted a lot of guys, and maybe they pull one of them right up. Maybe there's a guy out there. Maybe there's a running back that they're looking at, and then you kind of slot Gainwell more into a wide receiver running back role instead of a running back wide receiver role. I know that's if that makes sense. But I just think that we'll see where they go. I don't think it's going to be too hard to find someone better than Jalen Reagor. I guess that's, at the end of the day, the biggest argument to be made. So yeah, what about you, Keith?
Look, they could bring back Greg Ward, and I'm going to be thrilled because really, Jalen Reagor he didn't add anything to the team. I mean, like a couple of nice plays. It's like the same thing with JJ. Like, all right, cool, thanks, bye. Like, yeah, I wish it had panned out because nobody wishes their draft picks to fail, but it just didn't work out. And it's time to go somewhere else, and we got something back for him, so I'll take it. Like at this point, I'm thrilled just to see that Howie is willing to say, hey, you know what? Didn't get it, but I'm going to fix it. And he fixed a lot of the holes in this team this offseason for not a lot as far as, team draft capital goes, as far as like picks and players. He really revamped this entire roster to the fact that like now it looks like you went, cool, we had a little bit of promise last year. No, we're revamping for a playoff run, barring the guy that has the most question marks on him doesn't do what we think he will. And that's, Jalen Hurts, of course, that I'm talking about. But he's taking any excuse that he possibly can off the board at this point. That's what I see, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And again, this is a team. Just to reiterate, there's a lot on the line this season. There's a lot of high hopes, and this is a move that kind of just progresses that. This coaching staff still very much has a lot to prove, just as much as Jalen Hurts. Jonathan Gannon might have, if there's a target that's second biggest in Philadelphia, as far as the Eagles go, it's Jonathan Gannon. Obviously, everyone's going to have their eyes on Hurts. But after that, it's a very close second. It's a very close but distant second, if I can contradict myself.
I know you mean.
But it's one of those things where it's going to get kind of, why not make us more excited? And look, I've ripped them enough. Props to Howie. I'm not gonna yell it from the top of the mountain. But we'll see.
You should get something.
Look, look. When they're right, they're right. When they're wrong, and we just so happen to let them know more when they're wrong. But again, this is like at the end of the year, he might get his just due. Like people were ready to build a statue of him after 2018-17 season. So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we can get there. Oh, by the way, just had to give C.J. Gardner-Johnson a follow on Twitter.
There you go. That was the update I saw. But I'm looking at this roster, and I'm liking what we have, the depth that we have, pretty much all over. I mean, we do have quite a bit, and we have quite a bit of depth on like offensive line. Our wide receivers look nice. Like our running backs, there's depth there. Like, yeah, there's not too much that I can complain about in this team. Like, and we improve, yeah, but I feel so good about this team, and it could all come crashing down. It absolutely could, but you know what? It's nice to be able to feel optimistic about a team moving into the season.
Dang, I sent out a tweet and all of a sudden the viewers came in? Is that what I got to do? What up, Joe? It's nice to see you in chat. Under your real name? Joe, I gotta know. Was that you recently or not? But either way, it's good to have you back. Murph, Joe, Nick, I got the gang is all here. And
so you sent out the tweet and we got there.
And again, I can't really see what I look like. Let me check the camera. We're on the new stream. I have the phone in front of me, and the phone right now, chat, is acting.
I'm the blurry one, yeah.
The chat is acting as my new monitor. So yeah. Back from my. Do you guys trust Sanders? Trust
I swear
is
I'm
like
my grandfather. I'm not Brian Colangelo.
But now I'm reading on two different screens, and it's confusing.
What up,
it's confusing
Murph?
my brain.
Joe, everybody in chat.
Yeah, let's pull back up.
The answer is no. Do I trust Sanders? No. That's why you have Scott and Gainwell both on the team to back him up. But do I believe in his talent? Yes, I believe he does have talent, but he does struggle to stay 100% healthy. He's had some nagging injuries over the years that have hampered him a little bit. Maybe not kept him out, but hampered him. And yeah, it's tough.
I trust him. I just need him to be on the field. And we'll see. He's still a guy that Keith just put. He's had hampering injuries, but he's never had like the big one, And for a running back, that still means a lot. So, like, here's the deal. Like, if he misses a game here and there, as long as he doesn't miss too many stretches, we're fine, because I like Boston Scott. Right. We've seen, like, are we all of a sudden not, like, I'm not going to act like Boston Scott is the best running back of all time, but, like, he impresses us every time he gets his chance, right? So you have that steadiness. And then on top of that, I tend to like Gainwell. Now, the camp, everything we've heard out of the camp hasn't been positive around Kenneth Gainwell, but I've liked him as far as the draft picks since day one. I've been wrong about draft picks just as much as Howie Roseman. I'm sorry, what was that, Keith?
I liked what he did last year during the year.
Yeah, it felt like he didn't get enough touches. But I don't know. I don't know how to put this. The Eagles always seem to find it at running back. So whether it's Sanders or I'm not shook about the running back game. And we actually talked about that earlier. Like, maybe they're going to go with four running backs and 4 wide receivers this year. Maybe the next move to come, because it feels like there's still 1 or 2 more very minor moves to be done on this team.
Shakeouts, yeah.
I would say it's maybe a running back. I definitely think a wide receiver gets pulled onto this team. But going through position by position, let me just see. I'm looking to see where
it's tough for them to go deep on both wide receiver and running back, because you got 10 on your offensive line. That's you're beefy there. But Stoutland seems to work some magic, so we tend to let him kind of keep that. We got 9 on the defensive line between the ends and the the D tackles. We are actually keeping 8 linebackers. 8. Think about that.
Yeah.
We waived Davion Taylor actually, so that's one more that went off. New pardon. That was before that. It's a little outdated here, but but still 7. Yeah, I'm down with it. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of shakes out at the end of the day. But I like what I'm seeing. Josh Sills coming in as a long shot pickup from the Bills, 6'5", 330. Stoutland brings him in. He's looking like a solid backup at least.
You trading Dillard?
Like it.
You trading Dillard for Hunt? That's from Nick in chat. What about you? I'll let you answer that first.
Nope.
Yeah, look. Does it make sense on football? Yes. I would look like a bit of a hypocrite if I bashed Odubel Herrera for the things that he did and then was just like, oh yeah, but Kareem Hunt, let's go. So now to that point, I bashed Odubel Herrera for just as much for his on the field things. But I think at running back you can do better, and I don't know what Hunt's contract is as well, but you could probably do cheaper too. I know there was a few running backs that were,
look, not even on that, even on that end of the spectrum for me. Like I'm just looking at it like this, like Dillard's a very good backup left tackle. Is it a luxury? Yes, but it's a luxury you kind of want if you don't have a super glaring hole. And like, could we use another running back? Maybe, sure. But is it a super glaring hole? No. This offensive line is going to absolutely beat up defensive lines. So like, I feel good about our running game with no matter who's back there. So I would rather keep the backup just in case the worst happens at left tackle. And I hate talking about that, but that's exactly what happened in the Super Bowl run year. We had somebody step in, did well.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have that luxury. You're looking at Tyron Smith now from the Cowboys. You have, Jason Peters coming in for a visit because, they lost him. So now their season's kind of in the balance because they don't have depth. I want depth on my offensive line just in case. That's it.
I'm not. Only a Sith deals in absolutes, one of my phrases for this show. I'm not trading Dillard, but I'm not in a rush to get rid of him, to your point, Keith.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm on the same wavelength. I'm not saying we never trade him. I mean, obviously, everybody has a price.
Depth in offensive line is very important. I'm not taking that point. I'm not taking that point away from anyone. Let me make that clear.
Yeah.
But, and again, to your point, maybe it's week 3, maybe it's week 4, and something unfortunate. Like, it's a good trade. It's a good chip to hold in your pocket, and it's also, again, if something comes up right now, sure. And if a team is offering you a first-round draft pick, that's pretty beefy. So you might have to think about that too. Because with your first round draft picks, you want starters. So if it's something even like that might not help you right now, but it frees up both cap, it frees up a roster spot. Keith already mentioned 10 offensive linemen right now on this roster. Maybe that means one is getting moved. If it brings you back a first round pick, I'm okay with that. If it brings you back, a backup running back, though, I'm not sure that I'm thrilled with that. So I think you could do better than Kareem Hunt for Andre Dillard, which is, have times changed, and sometimes you just gotta wait on a guy. And
correct.
Again, we don't know if this dude could. We don't know if this dude could start, but teams right now are starting to think that hey, maybe he can. So the Eagles are doing something right.
He looked pretty good in his limited action that he was seeing. But Mailata just was like, yeah, no, I'm going to be a left tackle and I'm going to be a starter. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and Gillard and Dillard can potentially play at guard as well. I would love to see if maybe now that he's got some season behind him, if he had to fill in on the right side of things. If maybe that was something that has to happen. Who knows? Maybe a center. No, I'm just kidding. But I just want to make sure we got everything in chat because it did blow up quick.
Just one last thing.
He's Westbrook Light, Boston Scott from Joe. I kind of see him more as like Sproles Light. But are we splitting hairs there?
Yeah.
Because both Westbrook and Sproles are borderline Hall of Famers, and their skill sets weren't too different. So I guess we're splitting hairs.
Sproles was more of a prolific special teams person at his outset than Westbrook, I would say.
Yeah, we got
Westbrook has some pretty nice stand-ins.
Chat, keep them coming, chat. Keep them coming at all. We can freestyle all show. We technically have 9 minutes to go, but if we run into the Phillies game a little bit, I don't think anyone's going to be too upset. So we'll roll with it. If you guys are here, we're here. But yeah, outside of who's the new punt? Yeah, and that's actually brings us to a great topic. Who's the new punt returner? Do you mean Devontae Smith? Whew. First off,
not him.
In Madden, yes. In real life, no. Is there a different Smith, though? Am I missing someone? So, first off, my answer to that question, before I start rambling about Smiths, for me, personally, and I would tend to think that it's probably going to be maybe a guy like Quez Watkins, maybe a guy like Kenneth Gainwell.
I was going to say, probably Gainwell would be my guess, because I don't think they're going to put Watkins. Starters they generally try not to use.
But in punt returns, I would think maybe Watkins. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Keith, either. We don't know. Like, we don't know what's what. That tends to be the more modern day thinking is what you said, Keith. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. For kick returns,
I'm sure Watkins would be electric,
but yeah, for kick returns, I'm you probably see more of the Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell kind of thing. Punt returns, though, I would love to see Quez Watkins because. Punt returns are still much more meaningful in today's NFL, especially over kick returns. And I think that a guy like Quez Watkins in this offense, where you have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert and your running backs, and by the way, every now and then Jalen Hurts will just pull it down and run himself. So every now and then it might be hard to get the ball into Quez Watkins' hands. So I'm okay with getting the ball into his hands that way as well. If it means that he's getting the ball, more like instead of 3 to 5 times a game, maybe now he's touching the ball 6 to 10 times a game. So that's my very basic logic. It seems sound to me. I go Quez Watkins. I think that, again, that this could be your next move, too. When I say that, like, maybe they're bringing in another wide receiver that's going to do that. Maybe they're going to bring in another kick returner, or I'm sorry, another running back, and then that kind of makes Gainwell, more of just your kick returner this year, and he's going to be your special teams guy until he proves more, which I would kind of hate, but we'll see. I don't know where this team is going from here. Again, while this roster feels very nice, it's still, I don't know why. I just get the sense that like 1 or 2 more moves are coming. After the regular move, it kind of made me feel like more was coming, because 4 wide receivers just seems thin. Most teams go with 5. Some teams even go with 6. 4 seems thin. So we'll see. You still kind of have questions at tight end too. Let's not like forget about that. I know it's not the sexiest of positions, but you have Dallas Goedert and. Is Jack Stoll really how how sold on him are we going to be? It's kind of a guy that we're unsold on as far as a product, and we're going to have to kind of see where that's going to go. So yeah, it'll be an interesting read as far as where this season goes. We know where they're sound at, and it's this team is kind of building depth as they go. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see the next, kind of handful of days. So yeah, it's a good question though. Anybody outside of those guys, are we missing like a dark horse on the roster?
No, I don't think so. Like, I'm looking at the roster, and I just don't see anybody that really jumps out to me and says kick returner. Like is Zach Pascal that guy? You know what I mean? Like, I just, is there a safety or a corner that looks like a good returner? Like, those are the only ones else that you really think about. So It's like, I don't see anybody other than who we were talking about that really would do it.
Yeah, maybe Devin White gets pulled back. That's the guy's name, right? The track and field star that everyone. Maybe he gets pulled up, and we saw a couple plays out of him on the preseason as far as special teams goes. So maybe he's just your special team specialist. There's worse ways to spend a roster spot, I would suppose. You mentioned Greg Ward. Maybe after the injury he comes back. It'll be something that kind of, like I said, we'll just monitor, and Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. We'll make the post when it happens, and we'll get the discussion there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that progresses, and that would maybe be my biggest question on the team now, is that we see depth behind the tight end and punt return, kick returner. Like, those are big questions. I like that. Other than, quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess is there any other Eagles thoughts for tonight then, or?
No, I'm just really excited. This past week has kind of gotten me really ready to go for the season now. So I'm stoked, really. Like, I don't know if I could be more excited going to the season than I am right now.
Okay. Sorry if people are like, why is I'm tweaking the stream as I'm looking at it now. This is why I didn't want to have the OBS, but I'm moving things around, and I'm like, I can make this move a little better. I wanted to know if people are digging the little bit of a new layout that we have, and we're working on it. It's a work in progress.
We're trying.
We're eventually gonna have something almost professional going on. But yeah, I think you can see chat a little better now. I'm looking at it on the screen. Me and you feel like we're a little more equal, and you're not just overlapped in my corner. The Phillies are beginning the downfall. Are they? Because that's where we were gonna go. Was the Phillies? That's what I was kind of working my way towards.
Oh man, look at that! 1 minute, first pitch.
So time to go. Look, I don't.
No, listen. Look, there's a lot of injuries, and it's tough, and they caught up a little bit. But at the same time, they got a lot of bad teams down the stretch that should help keep them afloat.
Yeah, and some people might say, aren't the Arizona Diamondbacks a bad team? And they're a bad team, but they're not a bad team like the Reds and the Pirates are.
The Nationals.
And again, maybe the point is that they need to start beating these good teams because you want them to do more than just simply make the playoffs. But for me personally, I just need to see the goddamn playoffs before I can worry about more. It's been so long, and maybe that's a personal flaw. But it's been so long since we've seen an actual playoff run that I'm like, please just let me. I don't care if it's the last spot in a new, you get the extra. I don't care how it happens. I just need to see it. And then when we get there, that's when I will assess the team. And if we don't get there, that's when I will yell until my throat goes hoarse. It's that simple. there is, at this point in the season, no excuse to not make the playoffs. If there's a collapse, a lot of people will not be back, especially the interim the interim manager, not general manager, excuse me. So, we'll get there when we have to, but until then, I'm just not going to. I don't see the reason to put negative things out in the air for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, if they hit, you know what I mean, like 90 games, like as a win total, and don't get in, that's not a collapse.
No, not getting in. There's none of that. If they win 104 games and they don't make the last wild card, it's still a collapse.
No, listen, I'm going to disagree with you there, because you have to understand, like, competitive of the league, you got rid of your manager in mid-season. Like, to make a run of it, like, he's still in, like, contention for, like, manager of the year, or should be at this point. Like, I'm not saying I'm 100% sold, but, like, Rob Thompson, barring, like, losing most of the games down the stretch, if he has we'll say a 750 win percentage down the stretch here, like, and they don't get in, that's not a reflection on him. That's not a reflection necessarily on the team. That's just a reflection of maybe management should have gotten rid of, Joe a little sooner. This is my thought.
Yeah. Again, the Milwaukee Brewers. First off, the Milwaukee Brewers are not going to win anywhere near 90 games. But let's say they do. That's still on absolutely everybody in that dugout, including the manager. Because then all of these games that you're putting people on the injured list for rest and this, that, and the third, all of these things are under the microscope that much more. Again, that being said, Milwaukee Brewers are not a good team. I can pull up their schedule. We can.
They also traded away most of their good people.
We can talk about they got 4 games against the Diamondbacks coming up. Diamondbacks, by the way, are a red-hot team, winning 5 straight, going for their 6th straight tonight against this team called the Philadelphia Phillies. But they're going to look a hot wave going into the Brewers' 4-game series. So the Brewers have that. They got the Rockies. They have a doubleheader against the Giants, Reds again, Cardinals, Yankees, Mets.
It occurred to me, by the way, as we're talking about that there's
another series with the Cardinals.
Team.
Go ahead.
It occurred to me that there's a third wild card team. Like, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal, because really, I'm like, why is he getting so into Milwaukee? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because San Diego, like, they're ahead of San Diego. So really, the only team you have to worry about, which we've talked about for 4 weeks now. The last time Joe was here, we said the same exact things. It's more about who's behind the Phillies than what the Phillies are doing. Which, by the way, the Phillies are not doing good things. We're not praising what they're doing on the field again, which I'm sure is the only reason why you're back in chat tonight, Joe, is because they're not doing well. It was convenient when over the last couple of weeks when they were, actually they haven't been playing well over the last couple of weeks either, but there was that time where they played 2 really bad teams that they were looking good.
Well, I would say, yeah, listen, they really cleaned up against the bad teams. Yeah, the Mets, no, they didn't do so hot against that, but they've been taking care of business since the All-Star break against the bad teams, which is what.
Yeah, now these games have been brutal, and I've stayed up through most of them too. These games over the last couple of nights have been brutal, and if you've been watching, you've been questioning a lot of things late here at night on the East Coast. The Nola thing
in September.
The Nola thing is it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and rip Aaron Nola, not yet. But if he collapses down the stretch, that's going to be a very big topic of discussion. But again, I'm not going to speak these things into existence. I'm just merely going to yell if they happen. But yeah, as far as this series go, Blows a 7-0 lead. And that was game one. That was Ranger. That was everybody's favorite Ranger, Suarez.
Yep.
Which, look, I like Ranger too. Don't get me wrong. I didn't mean that as tongue in cheek, but like, he's a young kid, so that's why we have to tamper expectations when, I don't know, people are saying that Ranger Suarez should start game one of the playoffs. Like, I think that that's just being unrealistic. However, if he's your 3-4 starter, that's a great spot for him, which is where he's at. Ranger Suarez, we can't have any more of that. Suarez down the stretch has got to find that magic that he had last year. Because that's kind of where we need him to be locked in that starting role and just be that number 3 guy. He was throwing a no-hitter yesterday or 2 nights ago, and it's 7-0, and all of a sudden it's 7-6. And he went from having a no-hitter in the 4th to being taken out of the game in that same inning. We can't have things like that happening, especially against a team like the Diamondbacks. Just in case that needs to be said. Look, let's hope that
and
these
Hoskins,
guys.
Hoskins hits a double.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, let's keep the updates going. So,
Schwarber's on third. Listen, we're starting off 1-2, getting on base, no outs. It's a turnaround game, boys. Turnaround game.
Yeah, and again, we kind of blew through it, but there are some tough teams, and when it comes to the Yankees, Mets, 2 series, you got 4 games against the Cardinals, 2 against the Giants, the Rockies at Colorado, which can be difficult. There is 7 games against the Reds that the Brewers can take advantage of. 2 against the Marlins to end the season. Oh no, we not end the season. That's right. There's October games. 4 against the Marlins and 3 more against the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks could really, they're taking care of us. But if they can keep rolling, if they can use this momentum against us, and use it to beat the Brewers again, I don't see the Brewers as much of a threat. Do I think that San Diego can catch and overlap us, and which would piss me off? Yes. They're a half game back at this point. Remember, a half game? Where are we at? Yeah, or completely tied, actually, with the Phillies in the standings. The records are different, but they have one more win and loss than the Phillies do, so they have 2 in hand. But, it's doubtful that when you're scoreboard watching right now, it's probably irrelevant to look at the Braves. You might want to keep an eye on San Diego, but at this point, you're really just watching the Brewers, and you don't even need to do that. Just look at your scoreboard. And as long as the Phillies take care of what they have to do, win series. If the Phillies just merely win series from here on out, they make the playoffs. Which, again, it's a very simple way to look at things, but that's kind of where I am with this team right now. Just win series, and as we kind of approach the playoffs, that's when I'll start to nitpick each individual player, which there's a lot to get into. Right now, Schwarber's playing on a bum leg. Bohm might also be playing on a bum leg. Harper's back, but maybe you got to start taking guys out as far as Schwarber now.
Looks like there was some kind of error that Schwarber scored on.
Perfect.
And Bohm made it to first. But so somehow it's 1-0 with 0 outs, and I would assume 2-1.
Look, the Phillies got to put a hurt on the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight, if not for anything, if for their pride. Pull up.
Let's go. Let's see it.
Pulling up Phillies.
See what happens down the stretch.
So after tonight, the Phillies will have 3 against the Giants, which is going to be, the Giants are pretty far out. They're 61-68, 10.5 out. But if they have any hope they're gonna think it's gonna be in that series. I would imagine that's a team that's already kind of on their way out. The Marlins, Nationals, Marlins. You could go.
Braves
You could
are in
go.
there.
You could go until September 16th before you even get a loss. If they start to bounce back after tonight. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm being tongue in cheek. You probably win two out of three. Hopefully, you win 2 out of 3 against the Giants. That could be a series that you drop. You get it back then you start to win series again against the Nationals, or the Marlins, Nationals, Marlins. 3 straight series in September. By then, if you win all of those series, and maybe even sweep one of them, you might have a wild card spot all but in hand. The Braves series becomes a little bit of a task, but hey, maybe at that point, who knows what the Braves have been doing? Maybe the Phillies decide that the next wild card spot is in hand, and they try to go for the Braves. But that could be again a series that they go 1 out of 3. Blue Jays, very good team, could be a game that you hopefully split 2-game series with. Braves again, 4 games gets tough. But after the Braves, then you got the Nationals, or you got the Cubs and the Nationals, and you end the series out with Houston. Ending it out with an interleague game. Houston might have things in hand, so if the Phillies might have things in hand, the Phillies might really need those games. We'll get there when we get there, but just looking at the teams ahead of you, and not what's actually going on at this team, it's the task is simple. Now, as far as this thing goes, we got to get healthy, we got to stay hungry, and this team's just going to have to start hitting. I think that now Rob Thompson's biggest task becomes managing players need rest versus I need to win games. You might need to see Derek Hall back out there and sub out Bryce, sub out Reese. Everyone's going to need a little bit of a break here and there, and you're still going to need to field a very good lineup.
Call-ups.
Yes, September call-ups, which again, that means
Huge.
more late inning moves where you can, if you have games in hand, you can at least maybe take guys out in the 7th, but that means you have to get games in hand and you have to get big leads, and you still have to accomplish things. But again, it starts all with one thing, and that's playing better baseball, and it starts with tonight. They had to clean up everything. Pitching can't collapse in 1 inning. It all started with a lot of bullpen pieces kind of going down, and I think that's had a trickle-down effect. So, we'll see where this team goes. I'm not pressing the panic button. I'll tell you what. I'm not even going to press the panic button if they lose the series against the Giants as well. I'll start to press the panic button if they look bad against the Marlins, Nationals, Marlins. I promise you that. And that would be.
I think they're.
And you're gonna get 2 shows. Good news is you're gonna get 2 shows out of us next week too. With it being opening week, we're coming back Tuesday next week, Keith. Is that what we talked about? So we're gonna be back Tuesday next week, at 8:00. That'll be just the normal show. Oh, but by the way, we're gonna do some Eagles pregame on Sunday. So check us out for that as well. I know you guys will be busy, Keith. We haven't really but I'll be here. I'll be either on Twitch or Facebook. Maybe it's a Facebook show. Who knows? But follow us, facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. Be here on Twitch. Next week you get a double dose. So it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to the Eagles season. It's another football season. Not a lot of questions. Just one big question when it comes to the Eagles, and it's who is your quarterback. I'm really rooting for the guy because, man, the team around him is really good right now. And if he's even good, we're going to be in for a pretty decent season.
Yeah.
So, and if the coaching staff cannot get pass happy, especially early on, and if they can, stay within this offense and this quarterback's lane, then I think that this team is going to be successful. And I think that, as far as the teams we talked about tonight, they're all playoff teams. Oh, by the way, shout out to the Union because they're a playoff team as well. They are. And this next season coming up, we're probably going to talk more Union than we do the Flyers. So we'll still be 4 for 4. This team better be
That's it.
the champion. Oh, this team is better than the championship team. Oh, this Eagles team. Okay, I thought you were talking about the Union because you were talking about the Union first, Joe. Um, we'll see. Maybe. I was actually thinking about.
Potentially.
I was thinking about the '04 Super Bowl team versus the or the 17-18 Super Bowl team. Who would win in a matchup there? I'd probably go Andy's. I'd probably go the '04 team with T.O., McNabb. McNabb, borderline Hall of Famer. T.O., Hall of Famer. Brian Dawkins, Hall of Famer. I mean, that 2004 team was stacked. And they only lost because the New England Patriots are cheaters. And because Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are two of the greatest of all time. A.J.
Indeed.
Brown is absolutely better than Jeffrey, and Devontae Smith is better than Jeffrey, and Devontae Smith is better than all of those other guys, too. I get that. Wide receiving core. But here's the thing. On paper and what we know afterwards, yes. But that year, man, everything worked. That year, Alshon Jeffrey was a true number one. That year, Nelson Aguilar popped off. Like, I know he's the meme, but, like, shout out to Nelson Aguilar for being a meme, but by the way, still far more, productive than Jalen Reagor and JJ Arcega-Whiteside ever did. So I know we did the unlike Aguilar meme, and shout out to that guy. But I think it's time to start throwing the meme in this city needs to be like JJ Arcega-Whiteside and or Jalen Reagor. But
Mm-hmm.
let's that team, everything just worked, and you had running backs for days with Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount, and Chris Clement. Chris Clement could play he could play football for the rest of his life. He'll never put together a game that he put together in that Super Bowl. So it was great. Yeah. Keith, anything else tonight? Any nonsense? We didn't get to nonsense before the show. You were giving me a little bit, but then I was having a meltdown.
Listen. It's a long day. We did things a little bit late.
My beer's empty.
I don't really have too much nonsense. Just hey, thanks for coming out and tuning in for those who did show up. That's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
It's
shout out to the late night crowd. We did the show pretty late tonight. I was like, honestly, I just wanted to
see. This is throwback to my starting at War Room.
Yeah,
Philly.
back when we didn't have to.
It used to be 9 o'clock shows.
We're going to be taking drugs to make ourselves pass out immediately after, and not illegal drugs either. Like I'm talking melatonin, Sun, Wu-Tang.
Take anything to pass right out.
I actually, a lot of people are always telling me I don't do the melatonin, but I have these gummies that have I forget, they're it's actually specifically says they're sleep aid pills without melatonin. They've actually treated me.
Melatonin kind of messes me up a little bit. I'm too sleepy. I can't wake up right.
Oh no, I take melatonin and become awake from it. I don't know if this is because I have ADD, ADHD type thing, and
I will confirm that is not the case.
But I take melatonin and I become more awake, and it's the weirdest thing.
Now I pass out, but then I can't get up properly in the morning.
Yeah,
it's rough. It's a rough wake up.
Well, speaking of a rough wake up, we're probably gonna have, especially you, Keith. I know you're a lot earlier than me. I appreciate
that. I am.
I appreciate you doing this show this late. I appreciate everyone. Hope the PC, everything's been running smoothly. I'm hoping to maybe even be doing a little bit of gaming streams sometime soon or something too. So we'll see what we could do with that. But first things first, it's all about getting that Philadelphia sports content in. I'm so glad that you guys joined us. I got no final thoughts. My final thoughts were to plug the shows next week, Tuesday and Sunday. So Tuesday will 100% be right here, twitch.tv/warroomphilly. So stick with us here, and then all the other ones. So yeah, with that, it's time to put a bow on this show. I'm Anthony Pinto.
And I'm Keith
Oh
Malashevsky.
shit, that rhymes a lot. I think that's the new close, Keith. I think that's it.
Yeah,
Not that I just completely ruined that one, but
it's all right.
and we are out of here. Thanks, guys.